I asked Claude AI to analyze every documented fact in the Karmelo Anthony trial. I asked it to play the district attorney, the defense lawyer, and a neutral judge. And then I asked it the one question everybody wants answered right now. How does this end? This is Claude's prediction. And mine. But first, here is what Claude pulled from the actual record. Not social media, not opinion pieces. The documented trial testimony. The prosecution called 21 witnesses over 4 days. The defense called 5. Claude told me that gap alone tells a story. Not necessarily about guilt or innocence, but about which side came prepared and which side came in, hoping the law would do the work for them. Here is what the prosecution built. Multiple teenage witnesses testified that Karmelo Anthony sat in a tent he had no business being in, refused to leave after being asked as many as 15 times, and told Austin Metcalf directly, "Touch me and find out." One witness heard Anthony say, "I'm not leaving, fuck you all." When asked directly who was provoking the situation, one witness answered with one word: Karmelo Anthony. Then, the medical examiner took the stand. Dr. Elizabeth Ventura described Metcalf's stab wound as a 2-inch gaping wound that perforated the sac surrounding his heart and penetrated the right ventricle. She said it plainly. It was not survivable. The prosecution showed 4 autopsy photos. Several jurors covered their mouths. Metcalf's mother left the room. And then the prosecution did something deliberate. They ended their case by putting a blood-stained jacket on display. The jacket a football coach used to apply pressure to Austin Metcalf's chest while screaming, "Stay with me, Austin." That was the last image the jury saw before the weekend. Claude flagged that as intentional and effective. Now, here is what the defense brought. They argued Anthony was sitting down, surrounded by roughly 20 people, outsized by a boy who outweighed him by 50 to 60 pounds, and that when Metcalf shoved him, he reacted out of pure fear in a split second. They pointed out that mingling in other schools' tents during track meets was common. Anthony's coach testified to that. They also noted Anthony didn't run far, didn't hide, and told police immediately and consistently that Metcalf put his hands on him first. Here is where Claude said the defense case fell apart. Their own witness contradicted himself on cross-examination. He told police Anthony was surrounded by a mob before the stabbing. Under cross-examination, it came out he was warming up on the field when it happened and didn't actually see it. He walked the story back in front of the jury. Anthony did not testify in his own defense. And after a 3-hour midday break on the final day, both sides rested. Anthony's parents were seen visibly upset when the defense sat down. Now here are the predictions. Mine and Claude's. I hope he is set free. I genuinely do. Because I understand why he responded the way he responded. He felt like he was in danger. I can't say he overreacted, and I can't say he was fully justified. It was his feelings, his fear. And if I'm being honest, I might have done the same thing. But I doubt he walks out of that courtroom free. My prediction is manslaughter, 7 to 15 years. That is the charge that fits what actually happened that day. Not a planned killing. A scared teenager who made a deadly decision in less than a second after someone twice his size put hands on him. Claude's prediction lines up with mine. Manslaughter at around 50% likely, first-degree murder conviction at 35%, hung jury or acquittal at 15%. Claude's reasoning is that the provocation evidence is too strong for a clean acquittal, and the emotional weight of those autopsy photos and that bloody jacket is sitting in that jury room right now. But the record never cleanly established that Anthony walked into that tent planning to kill anyone. That is the gap between manslaughter and murder, and it is a significant one. What both Claude and I agree on is this. That jury sat through autopsy photos, a 911 call of a coach begging a teenager to stay alive, and a blood-stained jacket. Emotion is in that room whether the judge instructs them to set it aside or not. And they are deliberating without a single black juror. In Collin County, Texas. in a case where the prosecution struck every black juror available to them and called it race neutral. The judge agreed. The verdict will answer one question. Was the law applied, or did the atmosphere win? Closing arguments are tomorrow. The jury deliberates immediately after. The judge has ordered them sequestered. We could have an answer by tomorrow night. I'll be back when the verdict drops.